There we go. Hey, we're very excited and happy to host you here at GitHub. Josh already went over things, and it would help if I turned the pointer on. There we go. Yep, he already went over all of these things. So I wanted to just share a couple of updates. Let me get that guy there. There we go. Get that guy out of the way related to GitHub Copilot. How many out there are using GitHub Copilot? Good, good. Quite a few of you. Well, I encourage the rest of you definitely to give it a try because IDC MarketScape has named GitHub Copilot as one of the most, a leader in the IDC MarketScape report. So they noted that GitHub Copilot is one of the most widely adopted AI-powered coding assistants in the world. And actually, we have over 20 million registered users now on GitHub Copilot. And I won't drain all the details here. So if you've been here before, you know that I always post PDFs of these presentations so you can get access to all these links and everything afterwards. So in a moment, I'll show you where you can get the PDF and dive into all of these details and things. Last week, we put out the September Enterprise Roundup. And this is something that I do here at GitHub because between across our blog, we have another website called resources.github.com where we will publish white papers and executive insights and things, updates to our documentation. We have lots of different webinars and then things. We have our release notes and change logs every month. I consolidate all that information so that you don't have to go scan all of those websites yourself and put it into one nice, concise, well, I don't know if I'd say concise because there's so much going on these days, but this web page that has all of these updates to, and white papers and things out there. So definitely go check that out. See what's new, even from, the thought leadership perspective and things like that. So a couple of things to highlight from here. There's a new demo that came out, and this is a little over 5 minutes, but I'm going to show this demo so you can see what's the latest and greatest with agentic development with GitHub Copilot.
As a developer, the first thing I need to do is get an environment in which to code. Normally, this would be a tedious process of installing frameworks, libraries, services, and packages. But with Codespaces, I'm literally a couple of clicks away from a fully configured environment. Everything I need is defined in the dev container JSON file and automatically loaded up. In fact, I can even use a version of VS Code right here in my browser. But if I prefer the desktop version, that's also just a couple of clicks away. With my environment set up, the next step is to figure out what to work on and what to delegate. Through the use of GitHub's MCP server, I can ask Copilot to prioritize the backlog on the repository. Looks like there's a couple of issues looking for new features, accessibility tests, and migrations. Copilot highlighted the new feature as having the biggest impact on customers, so I want to turn my attention to that. Accessibility is important though, so I don't want that to sit in the backlog. Let me assign that to Copilot, then turn my attention to writing code. Let me get the full details of the issue so I can gather some additional context. Looks like we need to add filtering by category and publisher to our website. Seems straightforward enough. There's even an empty file for publishers, which I guess someone forgot to actually start. I can fix that. I ask Copilot to generate the code to return all publishers. I do this in line with Copilot by hitting Command I, then making my request. I've got the initial code created by Copilot. I'll accept those changes, then add in the code to get publisher by ID. I barely get to the route function when Copilot detects what I was trying to write and generates a suggestion. Looking over the code, I can see everything is built out just fine. Let's accept it, and that's done. But there's lots more to do. I've got the categories route to create, the app to update, interface to modify, test to generate. Okay, this is going to take a lot more work than I originally thought. Let's see what Copilot Agent Mode can do. I explain everything to Copilot, and it gets to work. It reads through my project and creates the necessary files. It's got the back end, the front end, and all the tests covered. Most importantly though, it's actually going to run the tests for me. And I can see, just like me, it's made a couple of mistakes. Fortunately, Copilot Agent Mode is self-healing. It reads the error messages, makes the correction, and updates the code to fix the various bugs. Finally, all of the tests pass. It turns its attention to running the end-to-end tests in Playwright, and I'm going to skip ahead a little bit to another problem that Copilot discovered. Turns out that someone didn't list Playwright in the requirements for my image. Normally, this would involve me having to track down what needs to be done, but fortunately, Copilot got me covered. It installs the libraries and the underlying dependencies before running the tests again, which all now pass. With the code generated and tests passing, let's take a look at one of the core components which ensured everything followed the guidelines I set forth, instructions files. Our team has one for the project all up, describing global standards in the app we're building, and we've even got ones for more specific scenarios, like creating endpoints and unit tests. Copilot Chat used all of these when it did its work. Instruction files are so important, in fact, that Copilot Coding Agent can even suggest the creation of one if you don't have any in your repository, so you don't have to create it manually. Now, to my least favorite part of being a developer, describing what I just built. Fortunately, Copilot can help me there as well. I can use the sparkles to generate the commit message. Then, after I create and publish a new branch right here from in VS Code, I can create the PR. Again, Copilot's there to generate the description for that PR. And if I return to my repo, I can see it right there, as well as another one. And that's the one from Copilot for the work that I assigned to it earlier. Let's check out what it's done. There's a new branch right here with the changes that Copilot generated. I'll copy that for use in a couple of minutes. I can see the PR contains a great description of what Copilot did and how it did it. I can even see screenshots of the interface. Digging a little deeper by opening the session, I can review everything that it did and how it did it. But at the end of the day, the biggest thing I want to know is, do all these new Playwright tests pass? Let's check out the branch on my local system and run those tests, and everything looks good. From here, I can continue my review, run the workflows required for the repository, and even make comments to request changes. We've seen how GitHub, Copilot, and VS Code were there from start to finish, allowing me to quickly generate the necessary changes and get on top of the backlog.
All right, so we saw how agent mode in VS Code works like your pair programmer, working side by side with you in real time. And we saw how he assigned that one issue in GitHub to the coding agent that off in the background went and did all that work and then created the pull request for you to review and everything. And we're working with like Atlassian so that you can say, hey, I've got this Jira issue. Let me assign the work for that issue to Copilot. Working with Microsoft and the Azure Boards team to say, let me take this user story or bug in Azure Boards, assign that work to Copilot. So GitHub is really evolving into the backbone of your agentic DevOps environment with all of these integrations and extensions and things. Another key update was the agents panel. So now with all this evolution of agents and Copilot and everything, just I believe it's github.com. Is it github.com/Copilot/agent or something like that? I don't remember exactly off the top of my head, but a single place where you can see the different types of agents that are evolving with GitHub Copilot. So definitely check that out as well. And then there we go. Updated documentation to help you figure out which model works best for your scenario, because we provide GPT-5 and Claude Sonnet and Gemini, and there's multiple models to choose from. Each have their own strengths and stuff. So helping you or helping to provide information so you can decide what works best for you. And specifically to VS Code, there was an update that came out today where now in preview, there in VS Code, you can say, hey, automatically select the model for me. So this is brand new. This is just in preview, but trying to make it even easier for you to get the most out of Copilot without having to necessarily think about the models and such. Yep. This is brand new today. I don't know all of those details yet. There is some cost involved because, like, by default, I think the default model we use now is GPT 4.1. I think GPT 5 is available, but and you can use those in an unlimited fashion, right? If you have a Copilot license. There's also like Claude Sonnet and Gemini. Those are considered premium models. And so with your Copilot license, you get a number of premium requests each month. And then if you hit that limit, then it kind of becomes a, pay per request kind of a thing. So I don't know the detailed criteria on that auto select stuff, but I did see something in there about, if it auto selects one of those premium models, it's actually going to be a little bit of a discount since it selected it for you, kind of a thing. But please check out those details. Actually, let me do this since I don't have a link for this page in my presentation. There you go. If you want to snap that PR code, or QR code, that'll take you right to the Visual Studio Code release notes, and you can check that out yourself. I will try to remember to drop that in Discord along with, let's see, I think that's my last. Oh, no. Yeah, I want to talk about Universe too. Universe is coming up October 28th and 29th. We consider that the World's Fair of software development. Now, until next, Wednesday or Thursday, we have early bird pricing. You can save like $400 on your registration for GitHub Universe. Many of the sessions will be online for free, and everything will be available afterwards, as recorded as well. But yeah, check out githubuniverse.com. The full session schedule and speaker list and everything is out there now. There was a great blog post yesterday that goes into a lot of those details and things. So I will say enjoy tonight's event. But the last thing I want to do here is, here we go. So this in my repo, and I will post this in Discord, but in my repo is, zoom that in, where I've posted the PDF of all those slides. So you can get to all of those links and everything from there.
Thank you. Yeah, and just a quick plug while you're unplugging and all that. Quick plug is that Dave also is a fantastic human, but also he's very good technical advocate. So what that means is that he wants to hear from you. So find him on LinkedIn, find him on the Discord, ask him questions, and he's going to be more than happy to tell you all about it. Was there a question? Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So the Copilot coding agent will create a pull request. And let me make sure I understood your question. But since the coding agent creates a pull request, you can go in and review the code that it writes, and then you can either ask it to clarify things, or you can say, hey, that's not quite exactly what I wanted. Here's more details about what I wanted. And the coding agent will iterate on the code that it's writing.
Okay, I think we're going to be having a lot of questions. So Dave's going to be around. And the event also has the meet and greet and the way to ask different questions. So ask him questions. But let's bring in our first speaker, Bryan, and he's going to be talking about the secure tool calling with the Shakespeare twist. Yeah, to MCP or not to MCP, right?
You want to use this? No, I'm going to be here. So hopefully this microphone is working the way we want it to. Okay, let me get going here and then I'll share the whole thing. Okay. Okay. Hi, everyone. That's me. I am with Arcade. We are a very new company, so I'm not expecting great things, but other than me standing here, who's heard of Arcade? Okay, we have 3 or 4 people. That's not bad. I'll take that for now. We're only about 25 people, 6 months in our, go to market as an organization. And we are in the tool calling business. And so I think I initially positioned this as like MCP or to not MCP or to not MCP. I think all of you, I'm going to make assumptions, may know what MCP servers are and the like. We started building tools before MCP, right? And MCP is reasonably new and going through some changes. And we've actually, as an organization, we're actually part of the MCP working team, or people on our team are, and we've actually submitted a bunch of changes to that spec for multi-user authentication because, and I'm getting right to the problem, we'll come back around to it. So one of the challenges with MCP today is it doesn't support multi-user delegated authentication. So you can't have an MCP server that is a remote server servicing a bunch of users in a way that it's respecting the authorization of all those individual users, right? That's not there yet, which is why MCP, we talk about sort of being stuck in proof of concept, because there's a bunch of things people want to do. There are desktop use cases you just saw with GitHub Copilot. There are lots of things that MCP can do, but if your goal, which is what we see our customers doing, is to get agentic tools in the hands of line of business people, it's a really hard thing to do right now, right? But it's changing really quickly, and we're helping customers do this. And I'll show you what we're doing and how we're thinking about it, and then how this, comes into play with an MCP world as we go through it, if that, makes sense. So lots of chatbots out there, but there are very few agents that can send an email today, schedule a meeting, or do any of these things that users do every day in a work environment. They will write an email for you and go, hey, here's a draft, right? They'll populate your shopping cart for Amazon, but they're not going to place the order for you, right? They kind of get you there, but not all the way. And so why not? And it's, because of some of the things that we're going to, talk about. So if we look at the agent hierarchy of needs, one of how we refer to it, and I'll try not to walk away from the microphone. If you look at, you've got your LLM, you've got orchestration using something like a LangChain or whatever other framework you're working with, RAG systems, and you've got tool calling, and that's the world that we play in. And so if you look at a large organization, and let's say they want an agent for sales and an agent for their call center. They might be 2 different teams, maybe they're the same team, doesn't really matter, but they're going to want to actually interact with enterprise systems for their sales agent, maybe Google and Slack, and maybe there's data from Snowflake and their Salesforce, and they're going to try to build all that into their agent. Then comes along the call center team that want to do something for their guys. They need some of the same stuff, but not all the same stuff, and they're going to build all that stuff into their agent as well, right? And so our perspective is the tool calling layer, because of the complexity we'll talk about, is worthwhile abstracting out of the agent architecture and into a different service bus within your actual project. And so with that, the people building your sales agent don't need to know how to authenticate to these backend systems. They don't need to enforce whether a user can do things or not, right? They just get a list of, here are the systems that are available. you can pull these into your agent and you can work with them. And so you get your teams off working against a central set of tools that they can use. And we work closely with the IDP for authentication. We do authorization. We also store secrets. So if you're connecting to the database, think about a consumer agent where you might collect a credit card number from a consumer if they're so bold as to put their credit card number into a consumer chat bot. What are you going to do with that credit card number? You need to put it somewhere where it's not in the operating space of the LLM, right? You don't want that credit card number to be seen by the LLM. Who knows what it might do with it? You're going to put that in a secret store, right? To be used later if you have memory in your system. When that user comes back, they may want to reuse that card. And then there's a bunch of work that we do around tool optimization. So what we do within tool calling is we add into it the user impersonation, right? That multi-user delegated authentication, right? The user impersonation that really allows security teams at these big companies and, you know, other folks feeling comfortable starting rolling things out into, you know, production. We're in a proof of concept with a very large, one of the top 5 wealth managers in the country. They built all their stuff from scratch with OpenAI and LangChain, and they connected to a bunch of their systems, and they completely failed security review. And they said, no, there's no way you're going in production with this, you know, connecting to our backend systems with basically a shared account of some kind or what have you, right? So now I talked about the multi-user delegated authentication, blah, blah, blah. But the reality is what an agent should be able to do on behalf of a user should be the least privilege of the agent's permissions and the user's permissions, right? So you probably all have the ability to delete files and delete folders in your own personal drive. Probably don't want an agent to do it. So just because you can do it doesn't mean an agent to be able to do it, right? And then there are things that you want to be able to do as a user that you don't want them doing for you. You want them doing on behalf of you, but you want them doing it as you, right? So that the permissions on the other side are reinforced. Okay, so let's get out of that and look at, sorry, okay. So I'm going to show you a couple examples, you know, of this working to give you a flavor for it. And so this first example, and by the way, everything I'm going to show you, you can go sign up for free, get access to this stuff, play around with it, do whatever you want to do, right? So this chat front end is not our product. Our product doesn't have a front end really, but we put this chat agent or product into all of our tenants that people sign up for. So you've got a bit of a playground to see how some things work right outside of the actual development environment. So we've got this simple Vercel, you know, chat that we then hooked up to Arcade, right? So this chat under the covers has access to 16 tools in GitHub. Now we call this a toolkit today, but that will be in a couple of weeks our GitHub MCP server, right? Once we can take the specifications of MCP that I talked about that aren't out yet and roll them into all of our toolkits will become MCP servers. And then Arcade will be an MCP server over the top of all your MCP servers effectively, right? You'll talk to us like an MCP server and you'll go, hey, all I know is you give me all my tools. I don't really care where they come from, right? You're handling all that behind the scenes, but we're all doing it over that standard protocol. So I've got 76 tools that are going back to this environment, you know, today. That in and of itself is reasonably unique because the more tools you add in, the higher likelihood of driving hallucinations in your agent. You know, but we've built some really high quality tools. That's part of what we spend a lot of time doing is building our own first party tools, which is why we can do multi-user auth today. And we will be when MCP supports it. But if I go and, you know, check my 10 last Slack messages, it'll give you a little bit of insight into what it's doing along the way. You know, it'll go and it'll iterate through and it'll tell me what those actual, and it is reading my actual Slack. But what I want to show you is that if I go over here to the Arcade dashboard, I'm now in the product where we're tracking tokens on a per agent, user, and app basis, right? So this is my token to access Slack through this agent, right, as me. And so if I go ahead and revoke that, when I go back to my chat and, reset it, it should, if the demo gods are being nice to me, it should notice that it can't do what I'm asking it to do, and it will enter a very standard OAuth flow, right? Now, this says arcade to arcade because I actually work for Arcade, but this would be whatever you typically see when you're connecting things together inside your organization. So I tell it that it can do that. The chat's been waiting, for that authentication, and it'll go through and, do what it does again, right? So that's an example, directly through Arcade. I'm challenged with things on my screen being in the way of what I'm trying to do, so I'm moving them out of the way. Okay. Who's familiar with LangChain? A lot more people, I'm assuming, right? Okay, so this is a little known product called Open Agent Platform that is just an open source project at LangChain right now. Potentially it'll be commercialized, but this is something they've built, and it's pre-wired with Arcade, right? And what this was built to give more of an analyst the ability to build agents who don't have the skills to go into an actual project and do all the work in code with, LangChain. So there are a handful of agents. There are 3 that come out of the box for different use cases. I went ahead and all I did was clone the default assistant into my customer support agent here. And so if I go into the agent, I have the ability to choose the model that I want to use. I've put in some system prompts to make my demo cleaner. And then you'll see the same list of tools. I don't really like how they're presented, but there are literally hundreds of tools in here. All of the Arcade tools are there. And I have turned on ClickUp, Gmail, HubSpot, and Slack. I've brought into, my project. And then I've done put some content together that is in a data store for RAG. So let me go and chat. So let's say that I'm a customer service person. And by the way, I did build all this. I'm not a developer, so bear with me if this doesn't go to plan, or it's a little wonky. But let's say I'm a customer service agent and I get a phone call from David. Maybe my telephony is broken, so I don't get a screen pop. We all know that this is not the way this would work. But I get a call and I say, okay, pull up David's details. We're actually just going to do it, regardless of how long it takes. Okay, so I got David Thompson on the line. I can see some information about him coming back from my database. Any outages here, David? So I'm obviously servicing a product that could be affected by an outage. It looks like, yes, there is. There's 2 outages in the area that could be affecting, David, and we've got times, and so I can convey to the customer that this is how, what's going on and when this is likely to be resolved. And then I'm going to say complete. By the way, I'm not chatting with David. I'm working internally, right? So go ahead and complete the customer summary, right? So I give a simple command to this thing to go do what I want it to do. And behind the scenes, it's going to know, hopefully, what that means. What does it mean in our organization to complete a customer summary? Now, the way that Open Agent Platform is built is it shows you all of the, sausage making, behind the scenes to do it, but what it should have done is it should have gone and created a follow-up for me in ClickUp, right? It sent an email to the customer telling them basically the details of our call, and it should have posted to, a Slack channel, right? So if I go over to, another thing in my way, to ClickUp, I've got the David Thompson customer call task has been created. if I look over in Slack, is Slack going to cooperate? It is not there. Did it tell me that that part failed? And then also over on my personal dashboard, I should have, oops, I have internet related challenges, I guess. Reload. Demo gods. Okay. Did it actually tell me that it did all that stuff? I've created a task for you. Okay. And it said that the summary was sent to the support demo channel in Slack. And now I wanted to turn off the authentication. I was told through this product, I can't, right? Meaning that I've already done this demo at home and it worked better. But the first time I did it, I had to go click through and authenticate to ClickUp and all those systems, right? But once I've done that, it didn't ask me. So I wasn't able to delete those tokens in this app. But again, you can see that. And so the whole point here is, and this is actually something that we're going to build that I did it in this case, I did it through prompt engineering where I basically said, when told to do a customer summary, do these things. But one of the things that we're also working on to make MCP work a lot better is building composite tools, if you will, right? So in other words, a tool might be customer summary, right? And behind the scenes, we map that to 3 subtools on those things that it does. So again, somebody building an agent doesn't need to know what's the process by which somebody gets offboarded from the organization. They can just say, start the offboarding process. And that'll go through and call the offboarding tool, right? That'll do all those things behind the scenes or whatever else. And so that's generally the idea. Okay, so back over here. That one. All right. So as I talked about, at MCP, the reality is the way that this will work over time is that everything, and this over time, I mean 3 weeks, this will basically all become native MCP based interfaces. And we've also got the tools for you guys to build, MCP servers. You can build them, in Arcade, and you can use our eval suite to actually test them to see whether they give you the results that you expect. Is the tool selection proper? Are they being called correctly? And all of that can be built using, our tools as well. And so again, you could do that for free with our stuff. If you just wanted to build an MCP server, you could do it, using our tools and build that stuff and go put it out wherever you want to do in the public market. Or you could deploy it in an Arcade environment, right? So all this stuff, the beauty of MCP is you can use it any way you want. We're trying to build value over the top of it by providing this almost MCP server and tools management layer that allows you to abstract that out of the agents that you're building. And that's it. 20 minutes. Okay.
Thank you, Bryan. So that was a great and very informative presentation and very succinct as well. So at this point, do you guys have any questions for Bryan? There we go. Hang on one second.
Can you please show some of the eval you have, the SDK, how it works? Yes. And what does it mean? Or just high level,
Is
it's
the
okay.
podium mic still on there, Bryan? Bryan, is the podium mic still on?
It is now. Yeah, so we have a set of, in part of what you can pull into like a project, into a cursor environment or a GitHub Copilot environment, VS Code, whatever you're using, you can bring in that part of our, product into your environment, and it'll basically give you a function to do similarity, evals and other types of evals. And so you can build that rubric that allows you to say, this is passed, this is failed, this is caution, and run a set of tests so that you're verifying whether your tools are being called properly and accurately, right? So those evals are built in to our SDK or TDK, which is a toolkit development kit.
Thank you.
Another question back here.
Hey, Brian, great talk. I was hoping to make sure I understood something correctly. You were mentioning the lack of multi-user auth, and then you elaborated on how you want to have the least privilege between the service account and the user auth. So am I correct in understanding that multi-user auth in Arcade's implementation is not only the access that you give the servers, the service, but also the OAuth that each user goes through and the specific scopes given to that OAuth?
Yes, and so we do that in our toolkits today. They will become MCP when MCP supports that exchange that we need to do that, which should happen here. The spec will come out in the next couple of weeks. And what we do is when the agent says, hey, here's the tool I want to call, that's going to come to us. And we're going to say, oh, this is a Slack update or what have you. We're going to interrogate the token that we have, for Slack for that user to see whether they can do that. And if they can't, we're going to try to add the scopes by asking the user to add the scopes effectively, right? Through the OAuth flow.
Awesome. Any other questions? Going once? Up.
Hey, early on in the talk, you were talking about dealing with secure data in a chat setting where it needs to be passed through to database or whatever. How exactly does that work? Because I'm assuming the chat does interact. I mean, the model does interact with this secure data. Like, how does it get determined not to be stored or whatever? Because I think that's pretty important, right?
I don't know. I really don't. So certainly, Arcade is built into the project that you're building, right? And so, you're going to get that input from the user and, determine how to, handle those, individual pieces, right? But I don't know, to answer your question specifically, how do you bypass the LLM seeing that input from the user or that specific detail before it's persisted on the Arcade side, right? So I can't give you the specifics there. I don't know.
Okay. Up. I see one more. Hang on.
Thank you. Great talk. Two quick questions. One is, how do you see the security layer of Arcade? Like, for example, I know you have this OAuth process, right? The user kind of authorized, but sometimes you have more granular, like security level. Like, for example, you just expose some sensitive data to the user.
Yep.
Right. And then maybe he or she doesn't really have the access to those. So does Arcade serve as a watchdog before they return the response to the user somehow?
No. So we are not evaluating the prompts that are going in and out from that perspective today, right? So we are ensuring that if done correctly, that the user's only pulling data that they should have access to. Now, if somebody configures a backend database with a single connection string and everybody's using it, and therefore they might get some data they're not supposed to get, or more importantly, I think is your point, maybe the data coming back, has, personally identifiable information in it that needs to be masked or something like that coming back to the user.
Right.
And we are not fulfilling that part of the security piece of the equation to mask that data.
I see. Okay. Another one is you in your demo you showed there's a use case where customer service can basically pull the data and create a task based on the user request. Are there any other, like, wearing your product manager hat, are there any other like a key killer app or user journey you think Arcade can help with?
Well, we do work with customers in both B2C, right, and B2B use cases. We're seeing more B2B and large enterprises right now, but and we've got some of these demos out there. I mean, we have an experience that we put together with a couple partners that show a user that is trying to buy something, right? But as part of that process, they actually generate a one-time use credit card number, right, through a credit card provider that's attached to their credit card that's only can be used for 15 minutes with the site they're going. So basically, this thing's all scoped down on how it can be used. They go do that transaction. They've now used it. And so the idea of putting together some of those more complex scenarios so that you trust that you feel comfortable executing a transaction through this medium is a, another example. But we also, with our, on top of that, we see a lot of our customers building MCP servers against their systems as well, right? So they really want to have, and so one of this large wealth manager, they need to pull information. They need to get somebody prepped for, like, imagine going into a meeting with a client. You want to get all the client data presented to you, everything you need, and then you agree to some things in the meeting, and you want to say, send them this, do this, kick off this process, et cetera, right? And so all of those, workflows could be done through a chat experience.
So the arcade helped the user to build all those MC servers, or?
Yeah, so we're doing a couple things, today. We have really good toolkits, soon to be MCP servers of our own, right? So to give you an example, because MCP servers, a lot of people don't know exactly how they should be built and what they're good for. But as an example, if you use the APIs to send a mail with Gmail, right? That is a whole bunch of calls to actually complete that task, right? So we've rolled all of that up into a send email, function within a toolkit, right? So there's a lot of work that we've done for Google, Office 365, Slack, so a bunch of these others, products to have really good tools. And so some people are coming to us because we've got the best Office 365 tools right now that they can run in a multi-user manner as a remote server, right? As a central server. So you have our tools, you have the abstraction layer that, we provide as well. And then the other tools that we're helping people to build MCP servers, right? Those are the real current points of value.
Okay, very cool. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, last question.
And then is the idea to be like a marketplace for agents, or like, what then becomes the model after that?
What becomes the model after?
I mean, if you're not looking for specific, if I was to say, what would be the advantage of going to an arcade, for example, as an MCP constructor?
As opposed to,
I don't know, right? So that's it. Right?
Yeah.
Is that where you're leveraging your?
Well, I mean, the expertise we've built today really is in the tool layer orchestration that we're doing in, and the token management that we're doing at that level to create that experience, right? That's the service bus that we put together. And being able to abstract, but also to build those virtual MCP servers, which are sort of constructed from other servers, if you will, to make them easier to use, is also part of that equation. Over time, Google will have an MCP server that is as good or probably better than ours, right? That will happen. All of these guys will build MCP servers eventually that do these things. So us having really good tools is a point in time opportunity to gain new customers and scale our business. It is not the end all be all of the company, because that would be eroded pretty quickly. What we're banking on is that it's actually that abstraction layer. So very much so, the big companies we're talking to, they go, we want to have a set of MCP servers that are published, from you to our BUs that they can then consume. So it could become sort of a central IT function out to the businesses so that they have a secure way to get to their systems, right? And so I don't think that's really the same as going, hey, we brought in these 10 MCP servers from these 10 companies, and either they're remote or they're running in our data center, and you have to hook up to them and do all of the plumbing to do that right? That would be a harder lift, right? That's the bet we're making.
Great. And Bryan, you're going to be here after the second speaker when we're like networking as well, right? So yeah, if you have if you guys think about the harder questions and just wait for him, he's going to be around. All right. Thanks, Bryan. That was a great talk. At this time, we're going to bring in our second speaker, Max. come on up, and he's going to showcase us how he built his digital twin.
Actually, not yet. So just set the expectation right. In the process, in fact. All right, before I get to my talk, wonderful talk, Bryan, and thanks for the sponsorship. And I also want to appreciate GitHub and Dave for giving us a beautiful space, and Josh and Bill for this wonderful event. It has been a long day. I wake up today around 6:30 a.m. as usual, and back-to-back meetings as the TPM. And it's super exhausted. Now I want to take a break. I would like to invite you, come with me, go to a journey to the future, take the time machine. But the only ask I need from you guys is tighten your seatbelt.
Good morning, Max. Today is August 20th, 2030. We're expecting the typical Seattle rain this morning, but good news. It should clear up by 1 p.m. The afternoon will be sunny with a brief high of 30 degrees Celsius. Perfect weather for your favorite sport, boating. Based on both your office and personal calendars, I've reserved a boating spot for you at 4:30 p.m. at Green Lake, just 30 minutes from your office. Let me know if you want me to cancel.
Keep it. I like it.
While you were sleeping, your mom called. As an authorized user for your family knowledge base, I have provided her updates from the last call you had with her, and she's requested a human response. Let me know if you want to listen to the recording and reply now.
I expected that. I will take the call later. Okay.
For your career development, Seattle AI Community is having an event at 6:30 p.m. today. Mr. Wang's personal agent will be presenting on the latest AI skills. Since you are boating today, I've prepared a list of questions based on your interests and research areas, and will be happy to join the event on behalf of you and then share you the recording afterwards. What's your thought?
Yeah, I like boating more. Thank you.
Have a good day and enjoy your boating.
All right, there's a lot that has been demonstrated over here. And by the way, I don't think it's going to take until 2030 to make this happen. Things are just changing so much. A lot of these things are possible. So what you see here, the red highlighted things are the ability to access the latest and greatest information. The ones that you see, the purple color are basically the personal knowledge base about me, about my behavior, the way I work, and the green highlighted things are the things that large language model can do. You guys should use updates for those green things in the future. So the question is, what am I building? Is it the Krabby robot? Another one? Or maybe it's a highly intelligent based. This is, by the way, one of my favorite movies. I don't know, have you guys watched this movie before? Yeah, I Robot. You didn't? Watch it. I mean, amazing, like probably 10 years ago, almost that. So really what I'm building is DMax. I'm my personal assistant that get to know what I think, know how I talk, also help me to get things done in a more smarter way, in a more proactive fashion. So that's DMax. So why am I building this? As AI becomes a thing, everybody's talking about using AI to do more and more of our work. Honestly, a lot of people lost job and are concerned of losing the job. So I think the key question is, what's the difference between AI and human? What AI cannot do and a human can do. To me, that's a strategic thinking skill. That's a critical thinking skill. But we are all heads down working on our day-to-day stuff. Where do we get time to improve our critical and strategic? So I want to build something that can do the day-to-day work on behalf of me, so I can spend more time thinking rather than doing. So how to build this? When I started thinking about the problem, I start back from how humans solving problem today. It typically goes through 1 to 7 different steps, from defining the problem, analyzing the problem, steps, criteria, so on and so forth. If we really thinking solving this in the terms of AI or generative AI, we are talking about the chat prompt, the knowledge base, open reasoning model, and the ability to take action, quote-unquote skills that you can call for MCP. So what really I'm building? From the logical components, I'm building something that has these 4 high-level components. There's a brain, which representing the reasoning model, reasoning process. There's a memory, basically the knowledge base we need to build. There is a competency, the skills, and there is a sensation part, which is user experience. So these are the things I have been thinking when I'm started building the solution. It has to be privacy and security by design. I'm dealing with a lot of personal data, PI, etc. I do not want anybody else other than myself knows that. It has to be context-aware, self-adaptation, because we know things are changing every single day. In the past, we are talking about what's going to happen in IT in 10 years, and then we are talking about 5 years. I think in the era of AI, we'll talk about what's going to happen next week or maybe tomorrow. Things are changing so fast. It has to be modularized, scalable, iterative, and future-ready flexibility. So let's see how this works. I actually built some prototype. It's a working prototype. Everything what you're going to see here is actually working today. So it starts by having a It's Me app, which is a knowledge collector. I installed this in my iPhone. It's basically a journal application that works with me on a daily basis. When I'm driving from office to home, I'm opening this up. I'm just chatting with my friend. All this information are captured locally in my iPhone. When I'm going back to at home, when my iPhone connects to Wi-Fi, it automatically downloads this data from my iPhone to my local server in my local environment. This is not going to the cloud. This is only going through the local network. And by the way, I'm capturing not only the text, but also the voice, that in the future, I'm hoping the agent I'm building is not only thinking and talking the same way, even as today I'm making a lot of grammatical mistakes. In the English is not my native speaking language. My agent is going to have the same grammatical mistakes. So no, that's a good thing. So it comes to its data sync application, which is a knowledge center. Again, this is hosted locally in my server, in my local environment. Well, it has some process where you can see today I enabled the journal as input, where what it does is process the journal coming from my iPhone, understand who am I, what's my habit, my behavior pattern, my thinking pattern, as well as things to do, etc., etc. Yeah. So what you can see, the information about the behavior, maybe it's not clear enough. The habits, we use all this there over here. This becomes the knowledge base for the agent to process. Next step are the MCP solution I built together. So it's basically a set of the skills that is processing and handling my data. Right now, this MCP is pretty naive. It only deals with my knowledge base. It's not able to really connect with, it don't know what to do certain things. Again, maybe I should use Auto to be able to send the emails to deal with other things. And the last is the digital version of myself. As what you can see, it started getting the context. I asked the question, how are you? It started saying, how's your project and your work at Oracle? Yes, I work in Oracle, and my agent actually know I work in Oracle. It started asking those type of questions. Yeah, underlying, if you can see, I purposefully built a triage section where you can see how the data is processed. When you ask a question, it calls the MCP server. It deals with the knowledge base and find these details, and then use these details to wrap up the final output, the response from agent. So putting all this together, there are 4 different components. The ISME journal app represents as the main data input right now. The data gets locally synced into its data sync application, where it processes the data, generates a vector database. Currently, it's a Quandrant locally installed on my local machine. And then we had DMax as a chat interface where it can deal with the knowledge base and having conversation with me. And in the future, I need to add capabilities where it can actually do things for me. So these are the tech stack of things that's involved over here. I think the key here is I would like these things to be language agnostic, model agnostic. That's still undergoing debate. So what next? To me, if we are saying AI is artificial intelligence, every time when I'm thinking what next, I'm trying to think about how human grows. Start with a 1-year-old, human learns how to speak and how to talk. That's basically some foundational component that needs to be in place. And then when turning into 7 years old, we go to school, we start acquiring new knowledge. We get out of the university, started going to the office. We started learning some basic job functions and skills. And then when we become mature enough, we become industry expert. We are supporting families. So if we are mimicking that in the way I'm thinking about building this solution, it's starting by building foundational components, goes to enrich the knowledge base, which I'm doing right now, goes to expand the skill library, at last optimize the reasoning model. So we piece this together. Today, the prototype, what you see, supports a journal input, has a fixed set of skills I built. The only interface is the chat. It's only very reactive. I ask, it responds. In the future, what I would want is able to ingest all signals. It could be from my email, from my LinkedIn, from my Outlook, etc., etc. It should be able to learn things on its own, identify things I ask it to do, but it's not able to do. Start prioritizing those things for me, and go Google, search how to build it, and build it myself. And then from the presentation there, I would like to build AR and VR. It's no longer just a simple chat interface. Last but not least is be able to proactively take in things on behalf of me. Why I should always ask it to do things for me. If it knows I have a to-do things in my backlog, it should either do it for me or remind me to do that thing. So who am I? Actually, the people who are talking to you is Max's agent. No, just kidding. I currently work in Oracle. I am in the industry for 24 years. I started as a software engineer, and then currently I'm a TPM in Oracle. Everything you see is my side project, what I'm done over my weekend. My principle has been customer obsessed, bias for action, blah, blah, blah. But things I really into the most is the last one, no BS. So if you have questions, if I don't know, I will tell you I don't know. So why I'm doing this over here? I don't think I'm able to do this myself. The space is very ambiguous. It's definitely a lot of areas is beyond my technical expertise. I'm learning, but if you're interested in this idea, if you're interested in this project, feel free to connect with me. We can build this together. So if we are building this together, then it is probably talking about a community. These are the things that in my mind, this community should persist. Be honest, whatever you see here, I just chat GPT, and the answer from chat GPT, I pasted over there. To me, the most important thing is none of that. It's have fun and learn together. That's the only thing that matters. That's it. Thank you guys so much.
All right, Max, thanks for the showcasing some interesting project. All right, do you have any questions for Max right now? Okay.
I'm pretty sure they have other questions. I just start off. And also, congrats on your networks jump since yesterday's Oracle jump. Well, so you'll probably feel very happy today over this weekend celebrate. So my question is, so for a human being, you basically just like compare your digital twins to a human beings and its growth path, from childhood to a mature human being. But in reality, most people actually get their information like even like 80-90% information from the visual, right? So we learn, we sense this world basically from the visual, and that's basically something you're missing in this part. So do you have an idea how to? I mean, on the top of my head, I can see if you wear something like a ribbon, ribbon middle, ribbon story, and always like recording what you see, and then you can just train your model based on the video or image you have take throughout the day, and I think that's probably even more better, right? In terms of building this multimodality model. And also you mentioned right now you only like converse with your phone, basically record all this information. But there's some other company, I believe they have like a friends or something, right? They have like a pendulum is always recording like all the information throughout the day, and basically you can leverage those data, right? Trying to build a model that will be more close, right, to your personality, your personal journey throughout the way. So how do you see that? How do you see you can build this more enriched data into your model?
Yeah, great question. I want to take us back to this part of my presentation. You're spotted on. I'm only taking the journal. When I say all signals, it's visual, it's text, it's voice, it's everything. I do not have the skill set today to build that myself. So if you're the expert, welcome to join my project and help to build that thing, or anybody's interested. I'm being super transparent. There's so many possibilities in this. And honestly, I believe there probably has more than 100 similar products in the market that already have way more things here. To me, this is not a project where I'm going to monetize and start up and doing something. To me, this is an opportunity to be all learn together. If you're interested, we can build together, have some fun. So I know I'm not answering you, but that's definitely a great idea. I want to build it. If anybody interested, let's build it together.
I like the call to action. Any other questions? Going once. Oh, there she is. Dave got it.
Hey, Mike, Max, this is a very great idea about the digital Max. Whatever I feel a little bit concerned about, okay, we are physical body. Eventually, 100 years later, we gone. You won't have the digital of you live forever, or you want someone else take care of this digital Mac, keep growing after 85. I like you, the tree, very good. So after 85, what you expect? You want to kill that digital?
Yeah. Well, 100% I'm not going to kill it. And by the way, there's no me to kill it at that time. One of the reasons I built this was at some point in my life, I have been going through a very tough situation. I was not expecting to talk about that. I'm not going to get into the details. I have a 9-year-old daughter. I was thinking about if I'm not here around to support her, I hope something is around her that she can use to memorize me. So I think the question is not about 100 years later. Do we want to have something that's perceived in the world, in the digital world, that's relatively free, that people can go back? I mean, there's so many movies about this concept that it's not new. So the short answer to you is why we kill it. It's a digital thing. Yeah. Until people will kill it. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Good question.
Awesome, great. There's a couple more questions. Hang on.
I think this is a really, really cool idea. It has a lot of potential. I see this could be useful for like people with disabilities. But my question isn't related to that. I'm more sort of curious on whether or not you have plans on connecting it, sort of like the knowledge base, furthermore than journals, and go beyond to the social media aspect, because I'm sure a lot of people here, have a lot of very active like social footprint, And I was wondering if you could like touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. I want to just bring to a screen. It's easier to representing my thought there. So here, there is something called authorized user for family knowledge base. So to me, the knowledge has to be in tiers. What knowledge I want to keep it with myself, nobody else should know. What knowledge I want to share maybe with my family, or knowledge I want to share with my friends. What knowledge is public. So maybe there's, going back to your question, the knowledge can also beyond just myself as an entity. It can go beyond as a social, as a networking, et cetera, et cetera. But I think the key is we need to categorize those knowledge and has control on that. And I also don't believe there is a certain rule that we have to apply for all. I don't believe one size fits all, but I think we should give that user ability to control that. And I also don't believe you need to configure everything. If AI is able to analyze historical data about you, AI should be able to make a fair, good suggestion based on historically how you deal with your information. And then you can just choose which one, yes, I like that. No, I actually don't want to share that. Yeah.
Hi, I have another question too. So you know how as we progress here in AI world, like a lot of models consume data and keep consuming more data, but there's something that I worry about is like, how do we prevent bad actors um, like contaminating those data? Um, like, have you thought about like a guardrail to
Yeah.
avoid that?
Yeah. So far the solution, all the knowledge-based data is hosted locally. And the things that's going through internet are the conversations, but the knowledge base are all hosted locally. In my mind, today, we have all these APIs hosted in different cloud providers. But I think in the future, why not all of us have our own server? With NVIDIA release these digits that you can run X meaning of calculations locally. Why can't we, all of us, have a server? Why don't we all own our own data rather than giving away our data? So that's my dream, but I know that's beyond my capability to build, but I'm going to drive towards that direction.
All right. Last question.
I will help Max to answer your question. So we can create our own models. Now we can host our own models locally using a LM Studio. So there is a LM Studio available where you can host your own models. There is a Olama available where you can host your own models. In that case, you can fine tune those models as per your requirements, as per your personal data also.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So at this time, thank you, Max, for a very interesting presentation. And before I let you guys go to Mix and Mingle, I'd like to take some time for our community, and this is a time to like get back. So I'd like to open up the floor, and if any of you guys have either projects that you need help, or you have a job, or you're looking for a job, and so on, this is now your time. So raise your hand, and then you come up. Let's take like I say 15, 30 seconds. Tell who you are and what do you need either help with or what you're looking for, and just quick description. So this is a community sharing time. So anybody wants to go? Okay, Shuai.
Hi, my name is Shai. I just quit Amazon 6 months ago. I've been building a product for a lightweight EHR for a niche profession, ortho-related, bones-related profession. And yeah, it's supposed to help them save money, bring more patients. Very competitive space, but we have 3 paying customer now, a few bunch of clinics trying our product, even just version 2. A lot of exciting features to come up. We are looking for technical founders or also marketing, like direct salesperson, if you're interested. The pay is very small right now, so expect equity if you want. That's it. Thank you.
exciting opportunity. So looking for co-founders. So yeah. All right. Anybody else? Come on up.
Hi, so I'm Chaitanya, and I recently graduated from Drexel University, and I did my master's in artificial intelligence and machine learning. I have over 3 years of experience. Also, I'm working for a startup right now and building agentic AIs, and I'm a lot into that field. I have experience in LangChain, and Arcade is also sounds very fun, and it is something I would like to be into. And I'm currently looking for a job. So if anyone is interested in hiring me, I would gladly welcome you. And yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's me. And then hopefully I find some connections. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Come on up.
Hey, everybody, my name's Patrick. I am currently solo experimenting with IoT hardware development using AI. And if any hackers are doing rapid prototyping, I am playing in a crazy space. It used to take me 3 to 6 months to build a prototype. I just built something in 4 days without writing any code for the first time in my life. And so I am playing in a really weird space. And if you like building devices, if you like networking, I'd love to talk with you. And then, folks, if you are struggling with security topics, I am a subject matter expert. I've been in the industry for 25 plus years. IoT, cloud services, mobile network, and mobile device security. I'm lucky enough to have been an expert in all of those domains. So if anybody needs some consulting support, I'm happy to help you with difficult problems. So Patrick McCanna is my name. I put a thing in the Slack channel, and I'd love to connect.
And don't forget to post on the Discord as well. Oh, yeah. Next up.
I thought I'll quickly jump in and say my piece as well. I'm Smriti. I graduated from University of Washington last month in information management, but specialization is in data science. This is my second master's. I have 5+ years of experience, currently looking for jobs. So if at all, if there's any opening, I'll share my profile on the Discord channel, if that's fine. And even if like there's not a full-time job opportunity, but you need any help with some kind of development or anything, please like let me know, and I'd love to help out and get some experience there. Thank you.
Yeah, since we're having like a lot of career related, just to make sure that there's two different channels. There's like a job channel as well as a local Seattle channel as well. So use both. Okay, I think he was next. Sorry.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Deepak Kamboj. I'm working now Microsoft, so I have around 25+ years of experience in the IT industry. So I'm mostly working in the test automation field using a Playwright. So Playwright is a product from Microsoft for doing a web integration testing. So I'm developing a detailed end-to-end test automation agent, which will test not only a web interfaces, which it will also help in the mobile simulation also. It can also test our products which are built using a AI. So it will do a AI testing also. So means where you can test all the eval frameworks, you can do a security and privacy testing from AI on AI products also, AI agents also. So I have already built 40% of the agent. I need the help, contributors who can help me building the rest of the framework. Thanks.
Thank you. All right. Okay, you're next. Come on up. Thank you.
Hey everyone, my name is Tone Pettit, and I am a long-term veteran of the tech industry, but recently, most recently I worked in the kind of specialized into speech recognition, and some of the things that we talk about here were, back in the days of like smart agents and smart devices when we were like talking to Alexa and all of our devices. A lot of what we're talking about here is we've been working on this for a long time, trying to figure out like ways to trigger events based on the voice or other kinds of means of, talking to, providing kind of assistance that isn't just typing, like being able to touch things. So, this is fascinating to see where this is going, and like how agents are developing is something that we've been doing for a long time. And that said, I'm looking for any kind of consulting work that if people are looking to develop their own spaces around this type of agentic development, or just want to kind of buzz with somebody about what they want to develop, I'm a great contact for that. I'm also using a lot of really cool new LLMs and technologies to do a data science project this summer. So check us out on LinkedIn, and I'd love to connect. All right, thanks so much.
All right, come on up.
Hi, I'm Rohan. I hope everyone had like a good night tonight. I'm currently going into my senior year at the University of Washington, and I'm looking for jobs in like software. I currently intern at a startup where we work with like healthcare, and we use AI to help like diagnose headaches and other kinds of health conditions. So if anyone's interested in any kind of hiring or just networking opportunities, I'd welcome the opportunity to talk. Thank you.
Cool. Okay, next up, come up.
Hi, my name is Rohan as well. Yeah, we also came here together coincidentally, and I'm also. Sure. Yeah, but I'm also rising senior at UW, studying data science, and I'm kind of I'm also like during the school year. I know a lot of you guys might be like more early stage, like startup, or working on some projects, and I'm kind of like I have some experience in a lot of domains like consulting, healthcare. I've worked at startups and like startup incubators. Also, like I'm doing a cool gig with like the Seahawks right now, doing like data science for them, and I'm looking to kind of dive more into this like AI engineering world. So like if anyone has anything they're working on and like potentially would want another hand on it, I'd definitely be interested in learning more and contributing to whatever you have. So thank you.
Thank you. And yeah, I really appreciate you guys coming up, because it takes a lot of courage. As you know, number one, what is like a number one or number two fear is a public speaking. So I really appreciate you guys coming up. And anybody else wanted to also take advantage of? Next up, come on up.
Hi everyone, my name is Lily. I'm also going into my senior year. I'm going to UC Santa Barbara, but this is my hometown. And thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. But I study computer engineering, and I'm really interested in the intersection of heavy industries, smart controls and automation, and also its intersection with AI and applied ML. So if you guys work in similar areas, you are also interested in this intersection, I'd love to hear about what projects you're building, what you're working on, or if there's any opportunities, kind of in this like smart controls and automations field, or reinforcement learning, things like that. Love to hear about it. Thank you.
Thank you. All righty. Going once. Oh. There you go.
Guess I'm looking for work. I've been at Amazon the last 10 years. We work in last mile. So I've put Raspberry Pis and hardware in the Amazon vans to do cameras to like do street sign detection. I got into that because I have a self-driving Honda Civic, which is fun to tinker around with. So kind of looking around what other new models or AI stuff is due. So what other cool projects out there that I can do post Amazon work. I've been at Microsoft too. So just networking to see what other fun projects I can work on. I love Raspberry Pi hardware, but software programming